Hey fellow crafters, this week I have another beautiful Mother's Day card idea to share with you using the brand new Quiet Meadow stamp set and the 2021 to 23 in colors. This card has a unique layout that will be fun for you to learn. So let's get started, shall we? Hey everyone, I'm Terry and I'm nuts about stamping. I love sharing project ideas and techniques with you each week for rubber stamping, scrapbooking, and paper crafting. Be sure to hit that red subscribe button and the bell beside it so that you can be the first to be notified when my next video goes live. Now, let's have some fun with this Quiet Meadow stamp set. To create this week's beautiful Mother's Day card idea, I'm going to use Whisper White as my card base. So I've cut it 8.5 by 5.5. I scored it on the 4 1/4 mark, and my card is going to be a landscape layout. Now to the card base, I'm going to add a layer of Whisper White. But before I do that, I want to do some stamping on this layer, using, as I said, the amazing new Quiet Meadow stamp set. I love this stamp set. As soon as I saw it on the pre-order, as demonstrators, we get to order a month in advance so that we can make videos and project ideas to share with you so that you'll have lots of ideas when you purchase this bundle, when the catalog goes live for you next month. I love this set because I love this stamp in the background. I think it's beautiful. I love the flower. I love the font and the phrases. I love this stem and flowers. But even more than that, look at the framelits that comes with it if you purchase the bundle. I think these framelits are stunning. So stay tuned. I'll have lots of card ideas showing you how to combine these and how to use these separately. But back to today's card. I'm going to take the flower from the Quiet Meadow stamp set and my Memento Tuxedo black ink. I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of grid paper because I'm going to be doing some stamping over the edges or off the edges of my card layer, so I don't want to mess up my grid sheet. I often have grid sheets that I keep as just sort of junky ones. And then what you want to do is you want to re-ink in between each time, and you want to stamp this flower all over the front of this layer for the Mother's Day card. So let me do that. An even number is better than an uneven number, but it really doesn't matter too much. What you want to do is you want to stamp off the edges. Let me do one more here. You don't want to crowd your flowers too much. There we go. Let me show you a close-up. And you want to leave some white space in between. But next, what we're going to do is fill that white space. I'm going to combine the Garden Wishes stamp set with the Quiet Meadow stamp set. I love this little bumblebee, so I thought it would be fun to ink up the bumblebee as well using the black ink, and then use it to fill the white spaces on this card. And as you know, bees love flowers, so I think it would make a nice complement for this card to stamp the bee in between. Let me do maybe one more here. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, I'll clean my stamps in a minute. And what I want to do now is I want to color the images that I have stamped on this layer. So what I'm going to do is introduce to you 3 of the 5 new in colors. We have Pale Papaya, and we have Fresh Fresia, and finally we have Polished Pink. I will do a Facebook Live later on today over on my Facebook page, obviously, and you can see all of the colors not only of the markers, the Stampin' Write markers, but the ink and the paper, and I'll also show you some embellishments later on in this video. So what I want to do is I want to take these 3 colors and I want to color the flowers on my card. So for the center of my flowers, I'm going to use the pale papaya, and then I'm going to alternate the other 2 colors to color the rest of the flowers. And then I'm also going to use the pale papaya to color my honeybee. So let me just get started on this. And then what I'll do is I'll stop the video and I will complete coloring the images on this card layer. And then I'll come back and I'll show you how to do something really fun with this layer that will create a unique layout for your Mother's Day card. Back in a moment. I have one last center of my flower to fill in, and then I think I'm really happy with how it is looking so far. What do you think? Do you like it too? All right, so let's go on to the next step. What you want to do now is you want to bring in your paper cutter. You want to open up the arm and you want to line up diagonally from point to point. And then what you want to do is you want to cut this layer in half so that you create 2 triangles. But then what you want to do is you want to open up the arm again and you want to line up your the long side of your card layer, or the long side of this triangle, at the 1/2 inch mark, and you want to cut a 1/2 inch off. Okay, and then you want to bring in the second piece, do exactly the same thing, line it up at the 1/2 inch mark on your paper trimmer, and then cut this piece off, and then you're going to discard these, but you're going to use the triangles on the front of the card. So let's bring in the card base again. And what you want to do is you want to adhere each of these triangle pieces to the front of the card. And what it does is it creates a window into the card base from which you can stamp your phrase. Now I'll show you how to do that in a second because we're creating a Mother's Day card. And then towards the end of the video, I'll show you a second idea that's not Mother's Day, just so that you have a couple of ideas to play with. Now what I want to do is bring in my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to use 3 Stampin' Dimensionals on each piece, on each triangle. And then I'm going to attach them to my card front. I'm doing this before I stamp because I want to make sure that I create an even window in which to stamp. Normally I would stamp and then add these triangles, but if I do that, there's a danger in going crooked, which I don't want to do. So I'll add this second triangle. I'm also interested in learning from you. Do you like these new in colors that I've chosen? If you do, leave me a comment underneath this video in the comments section. You can also tell me if there are other colors that you see yourself using with the Quiet Meadow stamp set. So what color combinations would you use if you were to make this card at home? Now, for my phrase, I've chosen the retiring Itty Bitty Greetings stamp set. I love this stamp set and I'm really sad that it's retiring. It has a Mother's Day, a Happy Mother's Day phrase. So what I've done is I have attached the phrase to a clear block. And what I'm going to do is use the brush end of my markers. This is the beautiful part about your markers, is you can use them for coloring, but you can also use them to ink up your stamps. And this is quite a small stamp, so using a marker allows for precision. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the middle of my card, and I'm going to stamp the Happy Mother's Day. Now, I didn't ink it up fully. What I love also about these markers is that there is a pen end. So if I made a mistake, as I did, I can just take the pen side and fill in the mistake that I made. Now I'm going to turn around and clean this, and I'll be right back. So I stamped using polished pink, and now I'm going to use the fresh Fresia, and I'm going to stamp the phrase 2 more times in this window. Hopefully I can make sure that my H is fully inked this time. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this a second time. And then I'm going to do the same color and add the phrase one last final time up here. So there was a bit of a strategy in starting with in the middle. Start in the middle, and then I know that I can sort of try and make it equal on either side. So in all, I've stamped the phrase 3 times, as you can see. So my card is looking lovely, but there's one final touch I want to add. I want to introduce to you these new in color jewels for the 2021-2023 in colors. And I think it would be beautiful to add some jewels. And I don't know which color. Which color would you add? I think I prefer the Fresia color for this card. And I'm going to use the smaller gems. There's larger gems and smaller gems. They are adhesive backed. And they have such a beautiful shine to them. So I'm going to add 3 gems, like so. I could add more if I want, but sometimes less is more. And there we go. I have a beautiful Mother's Day card idea that uses the brand new Quiet Meadow stamp set and my Itty Bitty Greetings stamp set and the new in colors. Now let me show you a second idea. Here it is here. I used the same images. I used the bee and the flower, but for the phrase, I used the Your Too Kind that's actually in the Quiet Meadow stamp set. And instead of the in color jewels, I used 2 different sizes of my basic pearls jewels. And the colors I used were mint macaron, and I used Highland Heather, and then I used Daffodil Delight. And for this card, I used my Stampin' Blends. So it's 2 different ways to color. You can use your Stampin' Blends, or you can use your in-color markers. For a complete listing of the supplies that I used and the measurements for the layers, head on over to my blog, www.nutsaboutstamping.com. If you are over on my blog, consider joining my mailing list so that you can get insider tips and ideas to take your card making to the next level. I'll leave a link to my blog in the description box underneath this video. And if you would like to make a beautiful Mother's Day box to go along with a Mother's Day card idea, check out this video that I made just a little while ago. I'm Terry. I am nuts about stamping. I hope you'll try this fun card layout someday soon too. Bye for now.